Hello, Patreon. We're back again. It's the Facts of Geek Life. I'm your head geeker, Charlie Carden, geekery, geekist. I don't know. That makes me sound like that. Isn't that guy in the circus that bites heads off chickens? Arr! That's not me. I'm not Ozzy Osbourne. But anyway, I'm back today with my buddy John. John, my West Coaster, my college roommate, who is my guy. Talk about with Doctor Who. John, good morning. How are you?
Good morning. I'm doing okay. You almost called it the wet coast out here, but that is applicable at this time of
The I could, yeah, it's a little wet here in Michigan today too. But yeah, we're back to talking about Doctor Who. Now we bounced around a little bit, notably, but we've been working with largely uh Capaldi, which is Doctor number, what is he, like 9 or 10? He's
12.
12. Gotcha. So we've moved forward from obviously series 9, but I'm trying to remember if we did like 8, 9, 7. Like we bounced around a bit, I know.
We've pretty much been covering mostly Capaldi, but let's just be honest. We've been covering the Clara
Oh
Oswald
yes. Oh god,
run.
yes.
So we
Yes.
bounced into season 7, part 2 when she showed up,
Yep.
plus the first two Peter Capaldi seasons. But now it's series 10,
Right, big changes
where
afoot.
Jenna Coleman's off the show, new
Ooh.
companion brought in,
Right.
and it's kind of a soft reboot, but not quite.
Right, softish reboot, not like they call the Star Wars sequels, if you want to address it as such. Oh
No.
no. But anyway, Doctor Who, the modern series, so basically starting in 2005, those are available on Max. I believe they're all there. The old stuff is elsewhere, but we haven't really dug into that. But yeah, we're going to talk about 3 episodes today. John is my expert, but I'm going to read the summary. Then I'm going to kick it on over to him, and then I have my notes and questions, and we'll do it as we always do it. All right, episode 1 of the season. I just thought it was called. It's funny you should say soft reboot because I just thought it was pilot, like people will call the first
Mhm.
episode of a show. But it's the pilot, and it becomes obvious why. Lawrence Gow did the directing from a script screenplay from Stephen Moffat, who's the big guy, as I understand.
At the
From
time.
April of 2017, the Doctor and Nardole. I love Nardole. He was in some movie with not Rainn Wilson. Who's the Australian gal, blonde? She was kind of chubby. Now she's really skinny. Why am I forgetting
Is
her
that
name?
Rebel Wilson?
Yes, Rebel Wilson. Some movie where
Oh,
it had the two of them as like obnoxious roommates. I cannot remember the movie, but anyway, that's Nardole. Is that guy?
Matt
Have I?
Lucas.
What's that? What's his name?
Matt Lucas.
Matt Lucas. There you go. They have occupied themselves under the guise of university professor and assistant. Bill Potts, who is female, so don't let the name fool you. I'm assuming female, appeared to be female to me, but these days, who's to say? And it's science fiction. Is called to the doctor's study where she becomes his non-paying student, which he seems very. You can tell he doesn't care about money because he's not like, oh, you're auditing my class, pay me, that'd be great. But she becomes a student. Bill is intrigued by a student named Heather. Heather is asks her to inspect a puddle. Okay, not suspicious.
No.
Asking her if she can see what's wrong with her reflection.
If
The
I had a
doctor,
dime for every
yeah,
puddle we always asked to inspect at East Lansing, that would, yeah, I'd have
I
like
know.
one dime.
You'd still be there. Asks her what's wrong. The doctor investigates the puddle and notes that it's not a reflection, but something mimicking them. Bill returns to her flat where she is chased by living fluid from an alien ship that has absorbed Heather and her feelings for Bill. Bill runs to the doctor's study and they flee into the TARDIS. The doctor moves the TARDIS where he and Nardole check out the vault they are guarding. More on that later. The TARDIS lands again in Australia where the doctor admits who he really is to Bill, I assume. They meet. The fluid follows them to another planet. Then through a Dalek battle. Love seeing the Daleks. Nice little slide in there.
Mhm.
Bill convinces Heather, air quotes, to let her go, and it departs. The doctor and Bill return to the study where he attempts to wipe Bill's memories of the day, but she stops him because she figures out what's going on. As Bill leaves, she finds the doctor waiting with the TARDIS and joins him. Ta-da! All right. It does. You're right. It does have all the elements of, hey, the new season is starting, but we're going in a different direction. It's like two of the Star Trek shows, DS9 and Voyager, in the fourth series or fourth season, knew that they weren't doing well, so they added in a new character to kind of spice things up. Now, Doctor Who does that pretty frequently, not only with the guy who's leading the show, but also his sidekicks, his companions. So in this case, we had obviously the same actor playing the doctor, but you bring in kind of a wacky sidekick. I don't know if she's the first one who's of who's black. I don't know, but it was the first one who was openly gay, which is awesome because that's the world we live in, and representation matters. I think that's pretty cool. But John, take it away. Talk to
Yeah.
me about this episode.
So you picked up on it right away. The little play on words with the pilot.
Mm-hmm.
Um, clearly it was time to reboot the show a little bit because you took a long running companion off and you're bringing a new one on. So whenever you have a new companion come in or a new doctor, there's always a little formula that Doctor
Right.
Who tends to follow. So you have to go through, why does the doctor pick this person? Why does this person speak to the doctor that he says, I'm going to make this person my companion? And then you have to go through the whole. The first time you see the TARDIS and it's bigger on the inside,
Oh
and
yes, all the greatest hits, right?
yeah, you have to hit all those story beats. So but they also changed quite a bit because a lot wrapped up in series 9, a lot of long running arcs that were going on, kind of carrying over a little bit from the Matt Smith era, because there was also a special in between the end of series 9 and series 10, which had Peter Capaldi with River Song, those two characters
Right,
together, and
right,
that's
right,
where
right.
Nardole got introduced in that special. So even the River Song arc got wrapped up right before this started. So this really was kind of a fresh way forward, putting him in the university setting as a professor, which you find out kind of from context from this episode. But as the series goes on, you find out why he's there. He can't go off space adventuring because he took an oath to guard this vault for 1,000
Right.
years, and you can't leave it alone. So he's kind of grounded, and he's itching to get back out there because he does not like to be just stuck in one place for very
Yeah,
long.
right.
So, that's. By the way, I love his lectures. His
Mm-hmm.
lectures are so fantastic, and I love how he goes off on this big rant about space, and then the student says, well, "What does that have to do with whatever the topic was?" Which has nothing to do with space. He's like, "Well, space is just so
Nothing.
cool,"
Yeah, exactly.
Um, so it's a launch of this. It introduces the new companion, which I thought they did a really good job introducing her and establishing who she is. And I like Nardole is. If you didn't see the special and this Nardole just shows up, I mean, I know you didn't see the special, but you picked up right away. Oh, he's an assistant. The doctor knows him from somewhere.
Yeah, right.
That's really all you need. Um, but they've established this is how it's going to go. There's a whole, almost a literal mystery box that gets established. Now, unlike J.J. Abrams, Stephen Moffat usually answers his mystery box items, so it's
It's
going
not
to come
lost.
together
Yeah,
at some point.
yeah,
But yeah, it's just it was a lot of people at the time I remember said it was a breath of fresh air because it was just something new because it had felt
yeah.
like the previous 2-3 seasons were repeating the same kind of story, same companion, same doctor, carryover storyline from the end of Matt Smith's era. This is all fresh.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and even the doctor, his outfit's a little bit different. He's casual, laid back, in his hoodie. He looks like a cool professor. Um,
Right.
he's got his guitar as always. I love it when he brings the
Yes.
guitar out.
That was my first notice, is that I was enthusiastic about the guitar because I was remembering the previous episode we had watched, and it was when Clara left us, that he was playing the guitar with the tank, and that's my kind of vague memory of what that sequence was, but I remember those two things.
Yeah, and by this time now in series 10, I mean, Peter Capaldi, I mean, he's nailed his role. Series 9 was when he really came into it.
Yeah.
He's just owning this role. In my opinion, he's still the best actor to just ever play the role, and he's
Mm-hmm.
just knocking it out of the park.
Yeah.
Um,
Totally.
Very comfortable, knows who he is now as, how to play the doctor. And even within the show, the doctor knows who he is now. And it's just a basic story, really, and it's good when the first episodes for new companion just kind of basic, let the characters grow into each other.
Yeah.
So that was kind of the atmosphere at the time because this was a series I watched live. By this
Yeah.
point, I had finally caught up to seeing them as they come out, and
Yeah.
there was a lot of excitement at the time. There was something different.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, with a long running show, there's no doubt about it. And you and I have had some conversations about, I know you're not thrilled with the direction the show is taking now. Uh, Over on Star Trek, there are certain series I like better than others, particularly of the newer ones. Like I love Lower Decks, but both Peter, who's my co host on Code 47, and myself, not thrilled about Discovery. But again, not everything is for everybody, and that's okay. And the beauty of the era that we live in is you can go back and rewatch older stuff till the cows come home and you can still find ways to enjoy it. So all right, I do love in the office right away that it's like Easter egg city, which they did that in Star Trek Picard in the study in his vineyard, that he had, like, the big painted portrait of the Enterprise that he had in his writer room was hanging in his study and stuff like that. But with this, it's like all the different black and white photographs of people from the past, which really, I think it's nice how it brings things all together, because you just remember it is all one great continuum of a story of a guy who travels through time and all this different stuff. So yeah, I was absolutely loving Bill from the jump. I love her big crazy hair, her gigantic eyes, and the story that she's telling about working in the cafeteria. Now I'm trying, she's not a student. Is she a student, or just, no, she's not a student. She works in a cafe
She has
somewhere.
a
She's
job
a
in the
canteen.
cafeteria,
Yeah,
and she's
right.
been going to classes like on the sly, or just sitting in on them.
Yeah, but not a student. So yeah, she tells the story about this beautiful girl who looked like a model that she keeps feeding chips to, which are fries to us here in America. And in the model she fatted,
Yep.
which I think is funny. Yeah, he's just doing the lecture and stuff. I do love her hair, as I mentioned. What else did I? Oh, I just kept calling Heather the Star Eye Girl, because that's what she had, that metachromonia thing, that what's the thing
Yeah.
with the eyes are two different colors. It was in the X-Men. They made a big deal of it in one of the X-Men movies.
Oh,
I
I
can't,
forget what the term is, but
heterochromia or something. Somebody hit us up if you're listening to this, because we would love to hear it at the C3 at all socials, and let me know. Oh, I like the fancy flat that Bill lives in with. Is that her adopted mother? That's what I'm trying to figure out through these episodes,
I,
because her real mother's dead. She goes at length to talk about that. But there's this woman who doesn't really look like she would be old enough, but they live in the flat together, and the other woman is kind of in charge. I
yeah, I
couldn't
don't
really
know.
pin
I
that
don't
down.
remember if that's ever explained, but I think it's maybe a foster mom,
Okay.
or just like a friend of maybe her mom's or something. But yeah, I mean, it's I don't remember it really being explained.
Yeah, it does seem a little fuzzy. I do like how in her flat she has a fancy bathroom that has a separate separate tub and a separate shower, and they're both immaculately clean, because they have to do a lot of second unit close-ups on, like, the shower and draining. I'm like, I know mine could never look that clean. We're bad at cleaning around here, but even if we were great, that was obviously pretty new. Shows its age with the fact that it's a TV budget with some of the CGI with Heather coming out of the puddle. Yes, she did when she saw, oh yeah, the TARDIS. It's really a posh kitchen. What happened to the doors? Did you run out of money? Can I use the toilet? Bill is just a quip machine. She's just
Yep.
running through these things and just absolutely nailing it. I love how quickly they go to Australia. Why can't I get there that fast? I'm really super jealous. I like the scene where on the alien planet they're talking about predators and prey and hungry, and the doctor says, do you think your bacon sandwich loves you back?
Yeah. Like, everything is hungry.
Everything is hungry. And then yeah, putting in the Daleks 1-to-1 with the with Star Eye Girl. I love the Daleks. What can I say? They're just so simple, and it made me think of Clara. It made me sad, because I remember the episode where she was inside of one, and yeah, it was kind of a bummer. So yes, he's going to wipe her memory, but she's like, I've seen TVs, I know this is how memory wipes look, don't do it. And then she talks her way into becoming his new sidekick, because he always needs one. So
Yeah, there's a little moment there when he goes to wipe her memory, and Bill stops him and says something along the lines. I don't remember the exact quote, but think about, or imagine if someone was trying to do that to you, which in series 9, in the very last episode, um, he did wipe his own mind
right.
to forget about Clara, as the only way to kind of move on from that whole situation. So
Yeah.
her theme music trickled in there when she said that to him, and that's
Nice.
when he
I do
said,
love
"Get out
that.
of here before I change my mind." Whatever. It's like he
Yeah.
doesn't remember, but there's something on a subconscious level where that
Yeah.
made sense to him. Like, well, I have had this done to me, and I do know how it feels,
Yeah.
but I don't really know what it was. So, um, so she kept her memories, because David Tennant's doctor did that to Donna,
Hmm.
and tried to do it to Clara. And it's like it's kind of like the doctor kind of got to this little go to for a while. I'll just erase everyone's memory of me, you
Here,
know?
look over this. Doo-doo-doo. They do
Yeah,
the Men in Black
basically the Men in
thing.
Black thing. Yeah,
Yeah.
um, but no, he didn't. And then he showed up and took her away to go on adventures, and so now that sets up. He's doing it secretly, so Nardole doesn't find out about it because now he's
Oh,
shirking his duty of guarding
right.
the vault all the time.
Well, why do you need the both of them? I'm sure. Well, I guess Nardole doesn't have any superpowers.
Well,
Can you think of it?
Nardole didn't take the oath of.
Oh, the oath, which we get to not in this next episode, but the next one. So, any final thoughts before we move on?
No, I think it's a good episode. I think you can watch that even if you've never seen an episode of Doctor Who. It's not what I would recommend to someone. Like, hey, this is a great introductory episode to Doctor
Yeah,
Who. But you can start there, and you don't miss a whole lot. You kind of get an
right.
idea of what the show's about.
It doesn't depend on a lot. So it's like even when he goes to the Dalek planet, he's not like he does two lines of dialogue. He says, "Well, they're robots and they live to kill me because they hate me and blah blah." That's all
Yeah.
you need to know. And then they're running around, and even if, like I said, if you didn't have any context, it works out. So yes, I think of the season premieres that I've seen that I can think of off the top of my head. I liked the direction this one went in probably more than necessarily than others. All right, okay. Episode we jump forward to episode 5, which is Oxygen, a wry commentary on on corporate greed. Charles Palmer doing the directing, from scripting from Jamie Matheson from May of 2017. Nardole accompanies the Doctor and Bill to a space station to answer a distress call. Most of the crew have been killed by their smart suits. We're going in this direction. We're all so screwed.
Basically.
We're all so screwed. Robotic spacesuits capable of independent movement, which are the only source of oxygen on the station, forcing the TARDIS crew to don spares. The suits received an order to deactivate organic components. Some of the crew survived by being disconnected, but the network suits can transmit the command by touch. Ugh, it's like the Walking Dead, like the Borg. Bill's suit malfunctions, forcing the Doctor to give her his helmet to save her, exposing himself to the vacuum of space, which blinds him. Ugh. He later leaves her behind to be electrocuted. Yikes. Knowing her suit hasn't the power for lethal shock. Of course, we don't know that at first either. Suspense.
Yeah.
Between commercial breaks. The algorithm used by the company to determine how the crew was inefficient and thus too expensive to keep alive. He wires the survivors' life signs to the station so that if they all die, it will explode, making it more expensive to kill them than to keep them alive. So the suits give up the remaining oxygen. That is such a Captain Kirk move. I absolutely love it. There's about 6 or 7 different occasions in Star Trek the original series where Kirk talks a computer to death, and this was very reminiscent of
Well,
that. So I
we've
enjoyed that.
talked about that before.
Yeah,
That captains of the Enterprise and the doctors, you could see them playing each other's roles.
right, exactly.
I
Yeah,
could
yeah,
imagine Capaldi as a Starfleet
yeah,
captain for
exactly.
sure.
Run, running around doing silly stuff. So
Yeah.
Bill is revived. The Doctor's eyes are repaired, so to speak.
Mhm.
And the survivors return to the head office to complain. Back in the university, the Doctor reveals to Nardole that he is still blind, which doesn't, perhaps that gets addressed, but I know that when we jump forward again, he's still blind. So yeah, take it away.
When I was watching these, I watched all 3 episodes yesterday
Me too. Me too.
just to have it really fresh. 'Cause I actually haven't watched Series 10 in quite a while. I did not realize just how many Star Trek references were in these few episodes, which
I
I was
know.
really happy for you because it was like, oh, I think Charlie will get a kick out of this, that they're
You,
talking about Star Trek left and right.
you know what's funny is that this was the exact time when Star Trek Discovery started, which was the first Star Trek show on TV in the preceding 12 years. So this was kind of a time, and I'm sure it has nothing to do with anything, but that's kind of funny.
Hey, Secret Friends Unite, let me tell you about Zencaster. We use them for our show, and now they're supporting us. Zencaster is now the all in one solution making podcasting easy. It's the ultimate web based podcasting solution, provides high quality audio and video podcast production and hosting. With a full suite of professional tools, podcasters can seamlessly record, produce, and publish studio quality content all from one dashboard. Being a creator has never been easier. And we chose Zencaster because of the ease of use. High quality output and it makes it super easy for our guests to come on. We had multiple solutions we tried before, and Zencaster has just been the best fit for us. Why Zencaster? It's now super easy to record a podcast with Zencaster. Log in using your browser and start recording a high quality podcast right away. Record studio quality sounds and up to 4K video with your guests. Feel a sense of Zen knowing Zencaster's multi layered backups ensure you always have your recordings in the highest quality, even if the connection is unstable. Have you ever worried what you sound like? Zencaster's post production process makes you sound buttery smooth. It automatically removes those ums and ahs in your recording. It removes those awkward pauses in conversation too. Set the right podcast loudness and levels while reducing background noise with the click of a button. So, if you're interested in making an easy, high quality podcast just with the click of a browser button, go to zencaster.com/pricing and use my code SFU1. You'll get 30% off your first month of any Zencaster paid plan. I want you to have the same easy experiences I do for all my podcasting and content needs. It's time to share your story. Now back to the show.
Yeah, I love it. The one when the Nardole saying, "Well, doors aren't supposed to go. Shh, shh. They're not supposed to make the shuck shuck sound or whatever."
Shuck
You know,
shuck sound was, yeah, that's what he had said.
shuck
Yeah.
shuck. They talk about space, the final frontier, and
Oh
it's
yes.
like wow, they're just
Just
laying right into it. It's like, is it good natured? But it tells me that Star Trek is a TV show that exists in the Doctor Who universe.
I love it. Just like you find out it watching the Eternals, which is an absolutely terrible MCU movie, that DC comics exist in the MCU as comics, where obviously Star Trek exists as a TV show in this one.
Yeah, so
So
that's
nice.
pretty funny. Yeah, this episode really, it's really part one of what ends up being like a 4 episode arc.
Okay.
Because this one deals with the Doctor becoming blind, which really plays a heavy role in the next couple of episodes.
Right.
That causes all kinds of disaster. It gets resolved. Like, it's a 4 episode run. By the 4th episode, it's all resolved. Everything you can see again, et cetera, et cetera. But
Spoiler alert, I
I,
guess.
I really love this stretch from episode 5 through 8. It's except for the last episode. It ends not as strong as it could, but it's a great little stretch. And really, this episode is where he goes blind, and being blind is so important for that series of 3 that comes up next. It's like, well,
Yeah.
you've got to see how he goes blind. It's a little hard to just jump into an episode and, oh, the Doctor's blind, by the way. You
By the
can
way.
kind of see how it happened. But I just love the coincidences of this episode. Like, oh, all the oxygen's being unauthorized oxygen is being filtered out of the space station. And look, there's 3 of us, and there happens to be 3 suits here in the offline repair unit. So just enough suits for the number of people that are there. I
Right.
can't remember why Nardole needs oxygen. I kind of don't remember his
Yeah,
exact
because
situation, but
yeah, because they pointed that out at the beginning of the last episode, or in like the cold open of the first episode, is he's like kind of walking around and dropping screws like he's a robot, isn't he, or
well,
something like that?
he was a human. It's again, that's the episode with River Song and Peter Capaldi when they're together. He got modified somehow. I
Oh,
forget the
gotcha.
details of it. Like they like removed his head and put it on some robot body, and
Oh
it's
boy,
very sci-fi thing.
like Mars Attacks, or he's yeah, exactly. He's a $6 million man, 6 million
Something
pound
like
man.
that.
Yeah.
In the pilot episode, I know right away he like moves his arm up and you hear like robot sounds. It's like, okay, I
Yeah.
remember, but he must still have some sort of human function. I don't remember.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I don't remember that part, but
That's okay.
it's
That's all right.
unimportant. It's unimportant to the
Yeah.
big
Well,
picture.
if it was important, it would be talked about all the time. And we're sitting here saying, well, I don't really know, because they would have addressed it. So it's obviously not critical to what's going on here.
Yeah, this is one of your basic Doctor running down hallways episodes,
Right.
which is very common in Doctor Who.
It's
But
easy because you can get 2 lengths of a hallway. You should have gone this way, and then you do a setup, and you should
yeah,
have gone this way.
but the units of measurement up there are all about how many breaths it takes to do something.
Right. I love that. You have
It's 40 breaths, to this
Yeah.
spot, or it's 24 breaths this way. It's like we don't measure
Right.
things in feet or meters or whatever here.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. You have enough for 40,000 breaths. So that's 2.5
Yeah,
hours.
and it's also got a little bit of President Scroob from Spaceballs here, where they force you to buy the air. You know,
thanks for calling and not reversing the charges.
they
Clunk,
commoditize
shithead.
oxygen.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's a basic self-contained Doctor Who episode with a little bit of a cliffhanger going forward about the Doctor's vision. Now, generally in a show like this, you know, when there's some big thing like if someone can't, if they get paralyzed or they lose their vision or something, they're the main characters. Like, okay, you know it's going to get resolved somehow.
Right.
A couple
Right.
episodes later,
Well,
they generally
it
won't make something
yeah.
like that permanent. But
It happened to Worf in an episode of Star. He had some containers fall and broke his back, and then they brought in another doctor who's like, "I've got this experimental procedure," and
Mhm.
Dexter Crusher wasn't having it and whatever. And at the end of it, he ends up at the table and he dies. But the Klingon, redundancies made it so that he could survive. Like it was very self-contained. And then it's never brought up again that he had this back injury. He's just totally fine. So yes,
Yeah.
that's a TV thing.
But this episode definitely was a commentary about a certain view I think that the showrunner or the director had about capitalism. I don't think they were a fan in any way.
Yeah. I
Uh,
do. I love the more than once the references to unlicensed air.
unlicensed there.
That's pretty fantastic.
Yeah, and there was the line too when when I think the doctor or Nardole is trying to explain to Bill, you know, you need to relax because the more stressed or anxious you get, the faster you breathe, and the more in the air you use up quicker. So
Yeah.
the more anxious you are, the quicker you kill yourself.
So just
Relax.
yeah, use this information to just chill the fuck out. Yeah, that's gonna work.
Yeah, and I love
That's
too
possible.
something that Stephen Moffat loves to do. 'Cause this happened in other episodes in the past when something very awful is happening to you, like in this episode, they like deactivate your central nervous system. You get these nice little robot voices that says, "Please remain calm while we disable your central nervous system."
Yeah, right. Okay. What difference does making calm mean at all? You know what I mean? Oh my gosh. All right, so what else did I notice in there? So yeah, so the dead suits keep moving around, so they're doing it's a very sloppy, like Michael Jackson's Thriller. They're like wah, wah, wah. Oh, Nardole does give the computer voice a name. He calls it Velma, and he seems to be flirting with it. So speaking more to the fact that he's kind of robotic, so I get that. Yeah, I was bummed about Bill, but I'm like, oh, it looks like she's dead, but she like looks kind of cripply, but she doesn't have like the veins and everything on her face. So you think, well, okay. Plus, then I gotta kill her. You know, it's your suspension of disbelief that she's ever really in danger. She does have the line when he's gonna do her. She says, oh, because the computer says hold still, or if you damage something, you will be fined. And she says, oh, great, I get fined for dying.
Yeah.
Yeah, so yeah, and then it comes back around to obviously the big the corporation set this up because they wanted to get these workers out of the way, and then do something else to find a way to increase their profit. So absolutely not a commentary on what's going on in the United States right now, or what might really change after January 20th of 2025, but we don't need to talk about that. But yes, I did note obviously the doctor talks this computer out of it, a la Captain Kirk, which I thought was pretty fantastic. The doctor makes a comment about lizard eyes. I don't know if he was just kind of saying that off the cuff, or he really tried that and it didn't work because his
You
eyes
never
look
really
the same.
know if he just says things, you know.
He does tend to say.
Well, rule number 1: the doctor lies. They've said that before.
Right, gotcha. Let me see what else do I have here. Oh, relax or die. That was a line for Nardole,
Yeah.
which again, you're telling people to relax. Oh, I love the one computer line at one point says, "You look like you're trying to run. Would you like some help with that?" It reminds me of Clippy from
Clippy all the way.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, this was fun. Space stuff is great. Social commentary stuff was great. This could have been an episode of Star Trek. This probably has been an episode of Star Trek. Just for some reason, it's not coming to mind, you know. But yeah, where you have the helpful computer that at the end of it is trying to kill you. They brought that theme up a number of different times. It was, you know, yeah. I mean, how couldn't they? You know, when you think about computers helping you, eventually it's kill all. It's Skynet and it's kill all humans. So
Yeah.
where this was obviously very pointed, it wasn't setting out to kill the people, but it saw them as a roadblock to its goal, which is to make money.
Yep.
So not at all like, let's say, an Amazon distribution center where my son worked for a little while and described to us what the conditions were like. Sorry, oh God. Well, you know what? If Bezos gave us some money, maybe I'd talk a little more fondly about it. But Amazon gets all your money anyway. So uh, other thoughts before we move on?
No, there's not a whole lot more for that one that I have. It's a good self-contained episode that you can decide to carry it forward to see what happens with his blindness, or it's just a good science fiction episode. Because I thought the
Right.
space scenes were really well done,
Yeah.
too. By the way, they really did a good job with the complete silence and vacuum
Right.
effects. I thought that was really well done.
Not the fire in space or laser beams firing, because not that they had that, but it was like
Right.
that was a thing in the most recent Star Wars show, the acolyte that everybody, that fire in space. People were losing their minds, but the thought of behind fire in space, and they do it in Star Trek too, is like, oh, if there's a fire in space when a ship gets shot, it's because the air inside is venting out. But
Okay, well, in the very first Star Wars movie, X-wings and TIE fighters and Millennium Falcon, they would shoot lasers in the middle of space and make noise. There were explosions. None of that would happen in space with the lack of
right,
oxygen.
but
So
how, but
it's
how
just a TV show.
it would be totally unwatchable. What's that line
Go
from
watch Interstellar or something if you
Yeah,
want.
what's that line from the opening song from Mystery Science Theater 3000? It's really just a TV show. You should really just relax.
Yeah, it's really it's
La, la, la.
entertainment.
Yeah,
It's a
exactly.
space adventure. It's not literal.
Oh my gosh. Well, our next episode is actually the next episode. So,
It is.
and it took me a while to kind of draw to draw this one around, and I do have a question for you
Sure.
as we go. But anyway, episode 6 is Extremis or Extremis, if you're a fan of Iron Man 3, and the comic arc. Daniel Nettingheim is doing the directing. Again, Stephen Moffat is back. We find this a lot when Peter and I are talking about Star Treks. When you've got the hitters doing an episode, it's obviously pivotal, or even if it's not pivotal, it's going to be an elevated level of quality, which I think that this one pulled off. Again, from May of 2017, a long time ago, the Doctor is sent to execute Missy. Nardole interrupts on the behest of River Song, which this is spaced out through the episode, so people watching are like, what is this? The Doctor refuses to kill Missy, instead imprisoning and guarding her for 1,000 years in a vault. In the present, the Pope visits the Doctor. This is some random shit. Here's the Pope asking him to help translate a text called Veritas, which feels like what was that Dan Brown series of novels?
Oh,
the
Da
with
Vinci
Tom
Code.
Hanks,
Da
the Da
Vinci.
Vinci Code. Yes, exactly. Everyone who has read it who has committed suicide. So I'd be like, well, sign me up. Sounds great. And
It
the
reminds
Doctor,
me of do you remember the old Monty Python's Flying Circus? They had a sketch with the world's funniest joke that if you read it, you laughed yourself. Everyone died who read the joke, so it was so
oh my
funny.
God.
So they like weaponized it. They started having different people in one side of the army reading different parts of the joke on the battlefield, so that
End the war tomorrow.
they were ending the war, because it was like all the German soldiers were dying. They translate it into German to like read it to them in the middle of battle. I mean, it's stupid stuff like that. But yeah, that's what it reminds me of a little bit.
Oh my God.
You read it, you kill yourself.
Exactly. So Nardole, the Doctor, and Bill are brought to the Vatican to investigate. While there, Bill and Nardole discover a portal, or the world between worlds, if you're a Star Wars guy, that leads them to the Pentagon, of course. They find portals are being projected, lead to different locations all over the world. The Doctor temporarily restores his sight using Time Lord technology and glasses, kind of like Friday from Friday, the glasses that Tony Stark had. I thought that's what it made me think of. But he's ambushed by aliens, because why wouldn't he be? Nardole realizes the projectors are not projecting portals, but an entire environment. His realization causes him to dematerialize. So that was and they start talking about the holodeck, which is exactly, there was a very early episode of The Next Generation, and the guest star was one of these old Hollywood heavies, Lawrence Tierney. You'd recognize him if you saw him, but he was like in a lot of mob movies and stuff. But they were doing like 1920 San Francisco, and they cornered our people, and they were like, they opened the door to get out, and two of the characters walked out, and for dramatic effect, they dissipated very slowly while saying, "You can't do this to me. I'm..." Where in future episodes, if something leaves the holodeck, it just disappears. Like Picard opens it and throws a book out, and it goes, "Bleh." They did that in a later episode. But
like the sound effect there. It's very good.
Yeah, that's the noise we're gonna go with. Bill finds a doctor who tells her the world is a simulation, and Veritas contains the proof. Bill then disappears due to the aliens' intervention. The doctor realizes this is a test to see if they can conquer Earth. However, the simulation is too exact, and his sonic sunglasses still work. And the virtual doctor sends the information via email. That's very early 2000s,
Yes.
where he could have just sent a text to somebody, warning of the coming invasion, and scene. To be continued.
Yep.
Awesome. Let's talk about it.
Yep.
Tell
This
me.
is the Doctor Who, the Matrix episode.
Mm-hmm.
You know, where they come to realize they're all in a simulation, and
Right.
so there's, you know, I love the scene when Bill and Nardole go through one of the portals and they go to CERN, which I don't really know what CERN is, if that's real or if that's just a made up organization.
I'm not. It's. I think it was in The Big Bang Theory. Like
So yeah,
Sheldon went there once. I still don't know if that means it's real. That's a question for Google.
they walk in and it's all scientists and all these like really smart academic type people,
Right.
and they're just all drinking and all like we're just all gonna die, having a big old party, and they
They
do
got a
that
countdown clock. Yeah.
the shadow test of
Yeah.
I hit the table and just say the number that comes to your mind. And they keep saying the same number over,
Right.
or they're different numbers, but they're all saying the same ones every
At the
time.
same time. Yeah. Yeah.
And it's just you get that super creepy feeling, like, okay, computers aren't good with the random numbers for different people. It's like you're all going to say the same thing,
Right.
and that was the test to find out: am I part of a simulation or am I a real person? It's almost like a blue pill, red pill situation.
Yeah. Right.
But that scene is so creepy to me, but also really cool.
Yeah.
But you see, the people aren't killing themselves necessarily. They're just like the way the doctor describes it later. It's like, imagine if you're Super Mario in the game and you realize you're in the game and you take yourself out of it.
That was good. He talked about NPCs. Yeah, he started talking about that. Yeah.
Yeah. And then what did Nardole, did he say it's basically Grand Theft Auto in there or something?
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So this one is where it's really the first part of a three-parter. I mean, if you count the Doctor going blind, the one before, it's like technically could be a four-parter, but I don't really consider it a four-parter. This is setting it. It turned out to be a whole big setup of what comes the next two episodes. The next two episodes is the actual story with these aliens who are called the monks. The monks have been running simulation, shadow Earths, observing, watching to figure out how is the best way to conquer this planet and to take over it. And intertwined through all this, you're finally getting information on, you know, you have what's coming with Missy. That the Doctor is going to end up asking for Missy's help to figure out how to get through all this kind of stuff. And Missy plays a really big role in the next episode coming up. After this one, unfortunately. So it really, this is the big setup for one of the big stories of the season, which is a fantastic episode comes after this one. And then they don't quite stick the landing, but it's still kind of fun.
Yeah.
After that. But this is all about a neat little mystery of, do you read something if everyone else who's read it kills themselves? Like, what could it be that does that to you?
You think you would just kind of let our better angels persevere and just kind of leave it alone. Oh my gosh. So here's my question. We have a framing sequence, obviously, with the distant past and this civilization that captured Missy for whatever it is that she did, and they're going to kill her. And the guy sitting there reading, he's like, well, we got to get another Time Lord to do it. And we don't know who they're going to bring up. He's like, you guys are hard to find. So sorry. Basically, like, sorry for the mismatch, but this is, we just need you to help us out with this. So by the end of it, obviously he doesn't kill her, but he locks her up. And then it's supposed to be that way for 1,000 years. And he's supposed to stand guard, which just happens at the beginning of the season. So why hasn't he been there for 1,000 years? I guess I'm confused, like why this is like, hey, this happened 1,000 years ago and now it's a plot element. So what did I miss?
Well, you didn't miss anything. It's just Doctor Who wibbly wobbly, timey-wimey stuff, because time in Doctor Who, time is not linear. Mm-hmm. It's happening all at once. It's one thing that the Doctor had said about, I don't remember if it was this episode or a different one. He said, imagine time happening all at one time, your whole life happening at the same time. a city of that is just when you're born, when you die, when you fall in love, when you fall out of love. It's all happening at the same time.
It's all happening, man.
If you're someone that can time travel,
You're right. Right.
you know,
Okay. So
so
this
what could
vault
have
that yeah, it's outside of linear time. It's in they have that in DS9 with the prophets of the Bajoran wormhole.
yeah.
They're non-linear, and Cisco, who's the main character, is their emissary. So they speak to him, and then he uses that
So
to
what could have
time travel.
happened? There is a line somewhere in there about Nardole or the Doctor. I forget which one says it. Talks about that they've been there for 50 years at the
Okay.
university. So the stuff with Missy probably happened about 50 years prior to when the Doctor started just like doing stuff at that university or hanging out there.
Right.
Um, Also, it's possible that it hasn't always been in that one same spot. They moves it around. It's hard to know. There's not really an idea of how much time passes
Right.
between um, when that happened with Missy, when he's at the university. I think they said it was like 27 years. The Doctor and River Song were together
Okay.
from that special before she died. So whatever happened with Missy obviously happened after that.
Right.
So it's not you're not going to get a good clear answer, and you usually don't with
I
this show
mean,
with that kind of
it's
stuff.
it's funny because the thing that seems to make the most sense is that because the TARDIS is so infinite on the inside, that he wouldn't just put it in there somewhere and then it's always with him and nobody can get to it except for the times when he loses it or it breaks down. I don't know. I do love that they can just say, well, time is not linear, so it could just be anything.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they've covered that a long time ago,
Yeah.
which is their way of saying, "Well, we have license to do whatever we want, however we want,
Right.
because we can make time work the way we need it to for this episode."
And everything is canon and it's all part of the same canon because that's the way the time works. All right, I accept that. I accept that within the parameters
Yeah.
of what it takes to make the show work. So um
So here's a question for you:
okay.
when did you, or if you even did, pick up on knowing it was a simulation that they were in?
The numbers thing was a definitely, well, this is not right. So
Yeah.
something is going awry. And yeah, where they're in the world between worlds, that didn't necessarily give it away because that's a sci-fi construct. Like, well, here's the thing with all these portals, because they did it in Star Wars. That's how Ahsoka survived getting killed, and they did it in an episode of Against the Next Generation with a race called the Iconians that had gateways that traveled anywhere. So it was an ancient species that conquered the known galaxy because you could send 1,000 troops through a portal and it would just appear on a planet and then you just wipe people out. So that wasn't necessarily a giveaway because that's very science fiction-y, but yeah, the fact that they started doing that definitely had a little bit of the Matrix vibe about it. And so I think I kind of figured it out as Nardole was figuring it out before he walked out of the projector and went. I don't know why he stuck his hand out and just discorporated him. Why didn't just pull it back again? But again, since hologram projection isn't really a real thing, you can do whatever the hell you want.
Yeah.
So yeah, so that's fine too. But yeah, very interesting. But yeah, no, I was not. I don't know when you watched it for the first time. What tipped you off,
It
or
was
don't
it
you
was
know?
in that scene with the numbers where I said, okay, that something happened at some point prior to this, that this is not a real situation. Like, I didn't think of a simulation. I said something with these guys happened,
Mm-hmm.
and I didn't think of it necessarily as a simulation. Just they were put into a game or something, and they didn't know it because there was an episode with Matt Smith when Amy and Rory were the companions,
Yeah,
where the episode was taking place. I think it was, I forget if it was called Amy's Choice or something, where it was almost like a dream master person was kind of pulling the strings of, you have to choose this reality or whatever. And it turned out that before the episode started, they had entered into some sort of area of space where it got super cold, or this guy came in and knocked them out and was playing around with them. So you didn't see that coming. There was
right,
an episode with Peter Capaldi and Jenna Coleman, one of the Christmas episodes, where they had like these face alien things that were putting them into alternate realities that you don't realize you're dreaming. So there have been things on Doctor Who before where a whole episode happens where you find out before the episode started, something had happened to these guys, and that what was happening was never real. So
Gotcha.
I was kind of in line
Yeah.
with, okay, it's going to be one of these sort of things, but I didn't think it would be quite so much hit you over the head of literal
Bonk.
shadow simulation, almost the Matrix type of situation. So
Right.
then the question, well, when did this happen, and how long have we been with the not real people?
Right. Yeah. How can you trace it back?
Yeah,
And again, it was a trope that came up in Star Trek all the time. I'm trapped in the holodeck, but I don't know it. I'm in the
yeah.
holodeck, and the safeties go off. So if somebody shoots me, they're really shooting me. That's there's the somebody is injured, but we're gonna see their memories while they try to fight their way out of it. That was the one and only Star Trek clip show, which I talked about recently. That was at the end of season 2. Is at the end of the 1988 writer's strike, and they were out of episodes, so they just made it a clip show of Riker was injured, and he had to have all these memories to fight off a virus. I mean, it was bad.
What I
Uh,
like about it is, again, these are fairly common sci-fi tropey sort of plots, but they're
right,
so well done.
right,
Great
exactly, yeah,
acting, and I really like the cinematography of this series 10. It's like really, really good. I mean, you've seen some of the old episodes of Christopher Eccleston, David Tennant. I mean, this show looks phenomenal.
right,
Uh,
right. Yeah, they
by
they
this time, yeah,
made an investment, which is good. You should make an investment in
yeah.
something that is popular. Uh, to please the fan base and just overall make a better project. So yeah, I found all the Vatican and the Pope thingy. That part was like, oh, they also had a vault where they had to, it was MC Escher's vault, and I think MC Escher's library at the Vatican. Bill says Harry Potter, which I thought was great.
Oh, don't forget, we have the best part of the Pope, blowing up Bill's date.
Oh yeah, that was rough. But that was a simulation too, right? Or
Yeah, it was part of the simulation, right?
yeah, because once the doctor finds his way out of the simulation, he calls Bill. Hey, do you know this girl who whatever? Do you know a girl named so and so? She's like, yeah, she's out of my league. So it's like, okay, well that part of it was real. I did love in the CERN on the one wall it says CERN, so I'm like, I'm good. I'm glad we now know where we are.
Yeah,
That's
that's
very helpful.
helpful. You are now
Um,
here.
you are you are hearing me talk. The doctor says 50 feet instead of meters at one point. So within the simulation, it's fake. That's how you know. What else did I see? Oh yeah, the final scene where Bill realizes she's a hologram and discorporates. They're sitting in the Oval Office
Yep.
where they have the president, who you don't see his face, but it kind of looks like Reagan from the back. Did an overdose of pills after reading Veritas. So. But yeah, you're right. Then we get the Super Mario reference when the doctor is showing down the alien. And I love these aliens. This is the ultimate photographic fakery, because it's this desiccated, like mummy looking thing, and its mouth moves, but it's not mouthing words because he's speaking. So it's almost like he's projecting, but his mouth is
Right.
like rah,
He just
rah, rah,
opens
rah.
his mouth,
Yeah,
but doesn't move it. But all
right.
the words are coming out, which I do really enjoy some of the designs of like these creatures, these
Yeah,
aliens that Moffat helps design. These are one of the better ones. I think it's so creepy. Just their mouth just opens and but they don't move, but all the words come out. It's
right.
just got this nice little, oh, there's something really wrong with this group. It's just
Right. Yeah.
creepy.
Just makes them way just like the Weeping Angels. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? That's this show, not Buffy, right? I was
Oh
Buffy
yes,
has some.
Sleeping Angels are Doctor Who.
Yeah, yeah. That you're just like, it's just a statue and it doesn't really do anything. But you close your eyes and then it's like,
Yeah, but
it's
they
like
only
right in your
move
face.
when you're not looking at them. So
Right.
they can do a lot of great times to do like camera tricks and jump sounds.
Yeah.
Because
Exactly.
you can like have them right in front of your face all of a sudden at the
Yeah.
blink of an eye, which is cool. The Silence is another group of aliens that is another really cool design that
Yeah.
they just creep you out. Um, it's just the monks though. I like the look of the monks
Yeah. I
because
agree. I agree. And obviously, I don't know if we find out as time goes on why they look like that, or if there's a backstory behind it. Even if there's not, that's fine. It's enough that they're creepy the way that they are. So I kind of dig on that. So.
yeah.
Well, cool. Yes, and I do love and yeah. So at the end, I do love Missy's when they're in the past. She's laying there, and they walk up and poke her. It's like, she's not dead. She's like, back off! I've just been executed. She's like, oh, like was that from the Emperor's New Clothes, the llama? Kind of remind you of that.
I like it. It reminded me of Monty Python again too. It's like, oh, she's just mostly, or Princess Bride, mostly dead, or
Yeah.
I'm not dead yet.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh yeah. From the
I don't want
Monty,
to go on the cart.
Monty Grail. He says, "Oh no, I'm getting better. No, you're barely hanging on." So obviously, like you said, it's big cliffhanger. It goes into 1.5-ish, maybe more episodes, because this is kind of part 2 of 4, which I assume we're going to talk about next time. Is that where we're tilting next time to wrap this one up?
Well, we can do that. The other set of episodes I gave you for us was the last 3 that ends
Well, then
Capaldi's run.
we
But
can
could
split it
also,
into 3 parts.
yeah, we
Yay! I
can do
love
the
it.
rest of this. Yeah, no
Yeah,
problem.
I absolutely
I
think we should,
I
because
never have a problem
you
watching
know
Peter
that
Capaldi.
if you don't like make me watch it, like you said, oh, watch that last episode after Jenna Coleman dies, and I never did, because I
Okay,
do
well, you
so
know what we're
much.
gonna do?
Yeah.
Here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna make you watch that last episode with Jenna Coleman, and then we'll watch the next 2 of this. But
Okay.
that'll be our next 3. That way
Okay.
you'll be all in on all that stuff.
All right, yeah, you got to, because I have to watch so much stuff to do all of this that it's just sometimes it's homework. It is. I spent the end of big chunk of yesterday, and then this morning watching content for the one I have to do later today, that I get so wrapped up in it.
Yeah.
But anyway, Patreons, that is the end of the segment. John, thank you as always. I know digitally you do not exist, so I want to ask you that question. But we thank our wonderful Patreons for supporting us. If you are listening to this on our free feed in the distant future, because time is a construct, and you are not a member of our Patreon, you can visit patreon.com/secretfriendsunite, get to try our wares for 7 days for free, and then you can stay signed on for as little as $2 a month. $2 a month. It's like 8/10 of your budget for Starbucks for the month. $2. That's a lot of entertainment for $2. I love the Blues Brothers. All right, Patreons, we love you, and we will see you next time. Keep on trucking.
This podcast is part of the Secret Friends Unite podcasting network, available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and podcast services around the galaxy, as well as video on our YouTube channel. You can support Secret Friends Unite by becoming a Patreon member, get bonus programs and more over at patreon.com/secretfriendsunite. Join our Discord community for even more discussions on all things geek. For all the latest updates on Secret Friends Unite, make sure to follow us on Threads at secret.friends.unite and visit secretfriendsunite.com. Find our merchandise at TeePublic and Redbubble. Thanks for listening, and may the Force live long and prosper.